Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for yet more dedicated legacy action. Today we are playing the GrindStoneForge version 1.2. So this is a deck that I've played on the channel before and I play in paper. And I'm sort of slowly tweaking it every now and then and playing on the channel. So what this deck is a sort of semi-Taxes deck with things like Esper Sentinel, Mother Rune stuff going on and Ethersworn Canonist. But it's fundamentally a Painter's Servant deck with Grindstone. So this is an infinite this is a combo where you mill your opponent's entire deck with these two cards in play. We also have Stoneforge Mystic for an aggro plan where we can go and get Cauldra, which can just be a thing on its own that's good. And then the real glue of the deck is Oswald Fiddlebender, who sacrifices artifacts to find other artifacts. So we've got a few spicy one-offs. We've got Crucible of Worlds, which can go and rebuy our Wastelands and our Urza Sagas and our Horizon Canopy. We have Portable Hole, which is so you can sack an Ancient Den or a Mox Opal to go find the Portable Hole, or you can sack an Urza Saga token. There's a bit of removal that sort of catches a lot of things like non-creature permanents, pretty much. So you can get a lot of joy out of that. And then we've got sort of your standard Urza Saga package: Pithing Needle, Shadow Spear, Solgar Lantern, and the Mox Opal if we need it to replace itself as a land. So this is very, very similar to the last time I played this on the channel. The only real difference here is that we've cut an Ancient Den in favour of another Plains, because previous versions of this deck were running Ingenious Smith before I went into the Stoneforge Mystic. So that was before it was even GrindStoneForge. That was just monowhite painter or plumber as it's known. But because we don't have that, we don't need as many Ancient Dens, so we can trim one and be slightly better against Wastelands and Meltdown effects. That's pretty much it. The sideboard is as it ever was. Removal when we need it, some graveyard hate. This is another piece that can be found with Urza Saga as well. Deafening Silence for things like Storm. March of Otherworldly Light is a great catch-all for artifacts, enchantments and things, and you can pay 1 mana and kill an Urza Saga, which is excellent. In some matchups you find yourself just wastelanding and March of Otherworldly Lighting them out of the game. And we have Anointed Peacekeeper, which is a card that doesn't look very good, but every time I've played it, it's been great. The ability to see your opponent's hand as well as tax their plays is incredibly potent. And the body is very nice against like a lot of things like goblins or death and taxes and things. It is terrible against Delver though, which is why it's a sideboard card. Because 3 toughness is not where you want to be for a 3 mana card against Delver. Alright, I think that's about it now, so we can just jump straight into a league and get going. Right, so we are on the draw. Our hand doesn't have a turn 1 play, which is a little bit awkward. I guess we can play out the Shadow Spear. It's not particularly exciting, but we can follow up with Stoneforge Mystic on 2. This is fine. I think we can keep this one. Once upon a time. So our opponent could be on Elves, Maverick, Cloudpost, something like that. Heritage Druid, that means they're most certainly on Elves. Allosaurus Shepherd. Our Ethersworn Canonist here is going to be good when we get it into play. We also don't have to worry too much about the Savannah here. I think we have this Wasteland. We'll put out this in case we need to race our opponent. They're unlikely to interact with our things on board. Not in game 1. Heritage Druid that we knew about? Yeah. There's the Cradle. Glimpse of Nature. So playing another Allosaurus Shepherd. They can tap these 3 for mana. A Visionary. I'll draw them 2 cards, one from a Glimpse, one from its ability. Wildwood Symbiote. Okay, I think we're mostly in trouble here. So they can activate the Allosaurus Shepherd. So 5, 10, 15, 20. I have to block one of them. So whatever I play this turn is going to be a chump blocker. We can also Wasteland the Cradle and hope they don't have a follow-up, which is less than ideal, but I think that's probably our best line to survive. Might as well play out the Shadow Spear. If our opponent has another Cradle, we lose. They did not have another Cradle, because they would have just played it immediately and won the game. Okay, they're going for the Leaf Crown Lord plan. Zenith for 1. A Nettle Sentinel. Yep. Okay, they're using their Wildwood Symbiote to untap a creature and replay the Visionary, and then pay mana into the Leaf Crown Visionary to draw some more cards. Untaps their Nettle Sentinel as well, if in case they can make some more mana and make another play. So there's the Visionary coming in. Our opponent's found another Cradle. They played a Wildwood Symbiote. They've activated the Allosaurus Shepherd. So I'm going to come in for 7 this turn. Nope. Add another 6 to that. So that's 13. So we are dead on our next turn, which seems very likely to happen. I'm not really sure what we can draw at this point. We don't have the mana to do our combo. I think we are just dead. Yeah, we can concede and go to game 2. So for this matchup, we would like some removal spells. March of Otherworldly Light is a pretty serviceable removal spell here. Grafdigger's Cage is good versus the... Grafdigger's Cage, yeah, it's good versus Greenstone Zenith, Natural Order and stuff. I don't think we need to worry about Ether Vials this game. So these Peacekeepers are things that we're not sure if we want them or not. We'll see how much space we have. So we don't want Ether Vials. We don't need Soul Guide Lantern. We might need these things. The Jitte is going to be good. Oswald Fiddlebender should be fine. The Canonist looks nice here. The Crucible is okay. I'm not sure how much time we're going to get to do that though. The Mother of Runes is not that exciting. It can protect our Painter's Servant in the face of Force of Vigor and things, but I think we're just better off having these more impactful spells of removal. So if we board like this, we don't have room for the Anointed Peacekeepers here. Now we could cut off a Crucible of Worlds for a Peacekeeper, but I think being able to continually wasteland and make sure that we keep them off of Gaia's Cradle is going to be effective. We need to basically remove their creatures and their cradles. So I think we will submit like this. Okay, so we have a turn 1 removal spell, which is somewhere where I'm happy to be. And we have a turn 2 play that can go and find us lots of exciting pieces, so we will keep this. Our opponent's mulligan to 5. So we have a choice here. We can make an Urza Saga and try and go off on turn 3 by using this to filter this into a Painted Servant later on. I think we're best off just trying to play a slightly more slower paced game here and get the value out of our Saga first. So what this will mean is that if they cast a Glimpse, okay, yes, they cast Once Upon a Time was one of the other cards I was going to say, or a Green Sun Zenith, it means that we will get a card out of it potentially. This also is something we're going to sacrifice later on. They've revealed a Nettle Sentinel. So cracking Verdant Catacombs to go and get presumably a basic forest. Yeah, there it is. And there's a Nettle Sentinel that we knew about. So this turn I don't think we have to kill their creature. I think this turn we get the Oswald into play. A Birchlaw Rangers. So this will allow them to produce 1 mana by tapping these 2 creatures. Alright, so they made a Heritage Druid. This is a very good Source to Plowshares target. So, I think step 1 is Source to Plowshares this creature. Step 2, I think, is make Pithing Needle. And we're going to name Wirewood Symbiote. And then we can play this. And we sacrifice this. We're going to get Painted Servant. And we will name... We don't want to name green because our opponent can have Force of Vigor. So Endurance is a card that can be in our opponent's deck to deal with our combo. But we are representing the combo next turn because this fetches Grindstone and gives us 3 mana here. But what we can do, because we have excess mana, is we can turn the Pithing Needle into a second Painted Servant if we think that's helpful. Alright, so a Glimpse of Nature from our opponent. This is them attempting to do something. So they're kind of looking for a land here. Another Birchlaw Rangers is very good for them because it means that they get to get some more mana off of the Nettle Sentinel. Okay, they did not have another 1-drop by the looks of it. Force of Vigor targeting our Urza Saga and our Painted Servant. So I think we will create an Urza Saga. What do they pitch to this as well? A Grist, sure. So a decent chunk of our opponent's resources gone there. Play this out. Unfortunately, we don't have the white mana. If we had the white mana right now, we could tinker this away. We could tinker this away for a Grindstone. So we're going to have to do it in steps here. I think we attack our opponent here. We can't attack our opponent, sorry. We don't want to attack with the Fiddlebender, do we? No. Right. We can use this construct to go and find a Grindstone as well. So we just need a little bit more mana to work with here. A Green Sun Zenith for 1. That's probably going to be a Heritage Druid. That'll allow them to make 3 mana here. Yep, so there's a Heritage Druid. And now doing a Green Sun Zenith where X is 2. So this is probably going to be Collector Roof, I'd imagine. No, Leaf Crown Visionary. Okay, so just going for the attack plan here. Okay, so drawn as a Saga. It's pretty good for us. So play that out this turn. So we can play this guy out. And then white. And then I think we want to keep our token here. But we don't actually have to sacrifice something right now, do we? Because next turn we'll have the mana to sacrifice. So what we can do here is the thing that beats us is natural order here. So I think we have this, and we need to sacrifice either our Ancient Den or our Construct. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think we sacrifice the Construct here. And we get this Grafdigger's Cage. So now our opponent can't natural order if they draw it. Which I think is the way that this game most easily runs out of our control. This would have been better last turn before they had all the Green Sun Zeniths going off. But okay, so we get to block one of these. Take a bit of a hit there. So our opponent has 1 card in hand. So taps this, we sacrifice this. This gets a grindstone. Notably, this is creature cards. So we just mill our opponent out here, I think. Yeah, okay, so we got game 2. So we're on to game 3 now. I like the amount of removal spells we have. I think it's important. I think we are somewhat behind when we're on the draw, but I don't think there's much we can do about that. Deafening Silence is non-creatures, so it's going to be pretty useless here. So this is 2 removal spells into an egg as a Saga plan, which is fine. If this was a Painted Servant, this hand would be really good, but this is fine as is. Heritage Druid. So we are going to kill this one on the spot. Now, it should be noted that the lands we currently have are very vulnerable to things like Force of Vigor right now. And that's not really going to get any better either. This is why we trimmed these to 3. Leaf Crown Visionary. So we can't actually kill this one with the March for the Worldly Light. Play this one out. And I think we want to hold this turn with the March for the Worldly Light, so we can take out a 1-drop like a Heritage Druid or something, or a Allosaurus Shepherd. And then we can play out our Painted Servant Grindstone and represent the combo. So I won't get priority before they get to make mana if that's what they're doing. A Cradle. I'm casting another Leaf Crown Visionary. I think we just hit this now. This gives them more mana for the rest of the turn. So it stops them attacking us. They're probably getting that mana anyway. Maybe we should have waited to see what they play off of the 1 mana. Okay, they didn't play anything off it anyway. So they've got 4 cards in hand. So we've got some choices here. I think the plan here is present the fastest clock we possibly can. So this guy, naming white, play this out as well. So we have the combo in our upkeep next turn if they don't have Force of Vigor. If they have Force of Vigor, they need to use it now, I think. Because in my upkeep, I can just activate this unless they want to try and get me, but I don't activate until their upkeep because of Force of Vigor. So I think we're in a good spot here. That could obviously all be undone because they have a functioning Gaia's Cradle right now. I'm just going to take this damage. I don't need to mess about here. So I'll put these on, doesn't really matter the order. I'm going to make colourless mana from this one, so we never drop our 3 mana plays here. So we go and get Grafdigger's Cage. This stops them from being able to Green Sun's Air natural order. This gets another ability on it. We play this out, and then in their upkeep, we will grindstone them. Although the only issue with doing, well, this will take their whole turn. They can still cast a Force of Vigor here because this taps for 2. I think we go for it here. If they spend their entire turn force of vigoring us, that's not the end of the world. Boseiju. It's a pretty good one. Yes, I would like to get a basic planes out of my library. Okay, so we're going to be on a fairer plan here, which is not ideal. But we can have quite a large Urza Saga token. We need to really dodge the Allosaurus Shepherd here. That's what's going to really put the nail in the coffin for us. If we draw the Painted Servant, we can win because this can go and get us a Mox Opal. Right, a plains. So, I think we want to make a token. It's going to be a large one. And then what do we need from this? So we need probably Pithing Needle on Wild Symbiote. I think we play this out and have choices here. We can either put the Aethersworn Canonist out to stop them being able to multi-spell next turn. I think that's... Looking at what's on the board, I think we are okay if they can only play one thing a turn. Now, they could have something like Seeds of Innocence in their deck, which will just kill us. But that is the nature of things. So next time we can put Shadow Spear on this and attack for 9 lifelink trample. Which, given the Pithing Needle and the... given the Grafdigger's Cage, should be a pretty hefty chunk. We're sort of locking them in now. Feels like our opponent must just have a handful of disruption elements here. This is interesting. I kind of want to get the Oswald online. Let's cast Stoneforge Mystic. So we don't get to play the Oswald this turn, but we get to threaten a Cauldra. Or we can have this Jitte. Have a Jitte for next turn. It'd be pretty good, I think. And play this out. We don't need to attack this turn. Next turn we can put a Jitte on our guy, which should be pretty good for us. Or we can put the lifelink on. We can't do both, unfortunately. We need an additional mana, an additional 2 mana for that. So, yeah. Okay, they've just conceded because we have the Jitte in hand and the Shadow Spear. So we managed to lock them out there using the Aethersworn Canonist and the Grafdigger's Cage. So there's definitely a number of cards in their hand that were either Green Sun Zenith or Natural Order, I reckon. So sideboard card coming in clutch, and they boarded quite heavily. Well, I don't know how heavily they boarded, but they had the Boseiju and they had the Force of Vigor, and we played through that all right. And those cards, also the Crate being in their bin is kind of interesting. It means that if they only have one, they couldn't have cast. They couldn't have found it anyway. All right, let's go into round 2. So we're on the play for round 2. Our hand has double Ether Vial, but we are very susceptible to Wasteland. But our hand is pretty good. We need a little bit more mana, really, to get things going. This is one of those hands where I could definitely get punished. I'm going to keep. I think the thing that punished us here is Force of Will plus Wasteland. If they've got them both, then fair enough, I guess. Okay, we got the Ether Vial. This can get Prismatic Endinged. Once Upon a Time. Okay, is it more elves? Is it Maverick? Is it Fiend Artisan deck? Who knows? Grove of the Burn Willows. So this is like a red Maverick build. That's the impression I get anyway. Yes, we would like this. Really like to draw a land here. We did not draw a land here. That is pretty awkward. That's going to give our opponent a lot of information about what we're working with. I think we'll play out this purely for the purposes that we can sacrifice it for a card later on if we need to. This also can deal with Punishing Fires. That's something we're concerned with. We can exile it from their bin, which we expect in their deck because we've seen them grow with the Burn Willows. A Savannah. A Knight of the Reliquary. So I'll stick a counter on the vial. Draw a land, hopefully. We did draw a land. Okay. That is some amount of the problem. So I think the plan here is play out Grindstone, hold up to sacrifice this to try and draw a land, and we can put in the Painted Servant. Or if they cast a spell that kind of requires them to cast a follow-up spell, I can always put in the Canonist and slow their roll. This wasteland is very good against us. Okay. The Fiddle Bender. That doesn't really help us now because our thing that's costing us is not having the mana right now. Yeah, so this is going to come in for quite a chunk. Just another night. It's another night. Activate this. Yes, we'll put in... We can sacrifice Ether Vial. I know what we can do here. We can sacrifice it. We can put a Painted Servant in and then sacrifice it for the Crucible of Worlds, sorry. Put this on stack. We will not put any counters on this. Yep, I think we are priced into doing that. So we could put in the Canonist instead. Maybe that's better. And then we will sacrifice this. Get this. Play this. Play this out. So if we draw a land next turn, we can combo them out. Oswald putting in a shift there. Now, they do have some pretty large knights, and these can go and get some wastelands and mess with us. They probably want to keep us off of... Okay, there's a wasteland. They want to keep us off of 3 mana activating the Grindstone. And unfortunately, we don't have an Ancient Tomb in this deck. Previous builds have had Ancient Tombs in, but we do not have them right now, which is looking like it might end up being somewhat awkward. But we knew that was the risk when we kept this hand to begin with. We knew we would be a bit cold to Wastelands, so the deck that has an engine where it keeps playing Wastelands is obviously going to be a little bit of an issue. Sure. So this is looking more like the green-white depths deck maybe, rather than Maverick. But it's hard to say because Noble Hierarch is not something you always see in the depths decks. So it's somewhere on that spectrum. Sure, they're Caracasing our Oswald. That's fine. Not fine, but... Okay, so they should be able to kill us next turn. So we need to put in some chump blockers here. Unfortunately, that might be a Painted Servant. So we want to say yes to the first one that resolves. And no to the second one. This is awkward. This gives them... Because if I hit this, then my Oswald can block. And I've got nothing. I think I have to put both... I think we have to put both Painted Servants out, which is pretty yikes. That might enable a Solitude, which could be in their deck. Seems unlikely, but could be. If this was on 2, that would be a little bit more helpful. So if they have a Sugeri Step in their deck, all they do is they sacrifice Sugeri Step, give this pro white, and it'll be a 7, it'll be 8 with the Exalted, and they'll kill us. There's not much we can do about that. If they have a step, it means they're much more likely to be a depths deck rather than Maverick, so it'd be useful information. A Wasteland, sure. This has to be this one, because if it's the Fiddle Bender, then they can bounce it. They won't have blockers. So this makes me think there might not be the depths deck if they didn't just get the Sugeri Step, unless they just didn't see the line. So we're on 1. Our opponent's got 3 7/7s. Pretty sure we're dead. So we say no to the first one and yes to the second one. What do you got for us? Ganja. That's not going to pay the bills, is it? So we can put in 1 blocker, but it's not enough. So we concede here. Alright, fortunately we have tools for this. I didn't see Green Sun Zenith. So whether or not I need the Grafdigger's Cage remains to be seen. Saga Lance and Pith Needle both very good. The Yumazawa Jitte is going to be fine here. The Oswald Fiddlebender is going to be a little bit awkward because of its ability to get bounced by Caracas. These Swords to Plowshares are things I want. These Rest in Pieces are good. These Anointed Peacekeepers are also going to be reasonable here. So we could switch out these sorts of things. I don't actually like Vial that much in this matchup. Yes, they are a Wasteland deck, but we have a lot of basic planes now. We have 8. And I think we just need business spells here. If we're boarding in the Rest in Peace, we don't really want the Crucible. So that's a relatively clean 8 and 8 swap. If we want March of Otherworldly Lights to go with it, then we need to have a little think about that. The Canonist doesn't do a great deal here, but we do need bodies. So I don't think we can realistically cut that. I think this will be what we go. Do we need the march for the Worldly Lights? We don't know if they're so we could swap out the marches for the Canonists. And we could also have the cage if we want the cage. Depends what we think our opponent is going to try and achieve. Is the combo going to be that good? Is Esper Sentinel going to be that useful here? A lot of our guys are just going to get bopped, I think. So the other option is we like trim on a grindstone for a cage, because you've got the 4 tutors for grindstone still. Trimming on Painted Servants is hard here. We're mainly going to be playing a fair game actually, so let's just have one of these and just an extra hedge for Dark Depths. Although if it didn't have a Sajiri step there to win on the turn, it makes me think they're not a Depths deck. So we have a lot of basic lands, which I like. We have a Stoneforge Mystic, we have removal spell, we have a way of hitting their graveyard. It's not great, but I think it's good enough to keep here. If they play a Mana Dork, we will Source to Plowshares the Mana Dork because we want to play Stoneforge on curve. Chances of them having a Mana Dork are very high in these decks. Once upon a time, a Knight of the Reliquary. We'll just stop them getting the turn 2 Knight, and hopefully our Cauldron will be good enough. And we also might be able to wasteland them off of the Knight as well. So we just get the Cauldron. So they can't make Knight this turn. We can untap, put Cauldron in and wasteland them. Mother of Runes. Okay. This has tramples, that's nice. A Green Sun Zenith. What is this going for? A Dryad Arbor? A Dryad Arbor. Interesting. So, step 1, activate this, I think. If they block here, which seems incredibly unlikely, but that would be great for us if they did. Okay, that's not going to happen. So now we have a wasteland here. So we have choices. We can either hit their Savannah or we can hit their Plateau. We can hit the Dryad Arbor, but because this has trample, I'm not that bothered by it. I think we can take them off of red and white here. So I think that's probably the play. This stops some sort of Minsc and Boo shenanigans down the line potentially, and it also stops punishing fires and things. Next turn we get to put the Shadow Spear onto the Phyrexian Germ. Sure. Unless we draw a removal spell, then we'll just fire off on the Knight. Okay. The plan here is tool up the Germ. So this will give us a 6/6 lifelink with trample and all sorts of other nice abilities. So this should be able to race the Knight, but if I have something like a Maze of Ith, yeah. So this can block, but I'll still trample over for 2. Alright. And we can play the Soul Guide Lantern, reduce the size of the Knight so we get more through next time. We also only gain 2 life because the damage is prevented there, so we don't get the lifelink. 3 green mana. So this is probably Green Sun Zenith. Nope, they're taking it back. Another Knight. Sure. So they can soak up all the damage, but they will lose one of their guys. Horizon Canopy. What does that do on this board? Not the most. I think we'll play this out though. I think we will hit our opponents. Wood of Foothills is better if they have Ramanap Excavator, so we'll hit that one. Then we go to attacks. So this can go and get them a different land. So if they have a Maze of Ith, but I suspect they don't have Maze of Ith because they didn't have the Sajiri step on the previous turn. So I can travel through. I travel through for 3 here. I can make it 4 by cracking this, but I don't think it's worth doing that just yet. Okay. So this is going to sacrifice a thing so it soaks up slightly more damage. Okay, Windswept Teeth. It's going to be soaking up even more damage. So I can exile this now and do a lot more damage, but I think it's fine just to take the 1 here. And we'll play out this Painted Servant. No name. There is a question of whether or not I play out this Horizon Canopy. Because I can play out the Horizon Canopy, but it can eat a Wasteland. And we're kind of using it for this. And if we draw a grindstone next turn, we want to be able to just go off. So I think we hold the Horizon Canopy. Okay, our opponent's played a Sylvan Library. Can certainly help them take control of this game again. They've done a pretty good job here. I might be priced into cracking the Soulguy Lantern on my next turn to force through more damage. Okay, this could be a Flagstones, which they can then sack with their other knight to ramp. Sure. I'm definitely going to be priced into using my Soulguy Lantern on my turn, I think. Okay, they're just using this so they can power out a spell of some description. Interesting. That means we probably don't have to... They could have another knight here. A Caracas. Yep, so they have another knight. That was what I thought might be happening. Grindstone would be a good draw. It's a Grindstone in a few turns, I guess. Let me play this one out. I think we attack with this. So we're going to exile our opponent's lands, shrink that to a 2-2. This will force through 4 damage and gain us 4 life. I think we play another one of these out on black. This will play around removal spells slightly better for when we try and combo in a couple of turns. It also makes our construct enormous when the time comes. So they can take 1 card with the library now. Yeah. Okay. So they decided not to take any of the cards. Just the regular 1 draw. Which is good for them. Pumps their knights. So they can pump their knights all the way up to 6/6s this turn if they've got enough lands in their deck, which they should have. But we do have the ticking clock of Grindstone on the way. Knight of Autumn. So we are going to lose one of our artifacts here. It's probably going to be our Urza Saga. It's artifact or enchantment, right? I suspect they'll probably take our Saga here. Okay, now going for one of the servants. Sure. This is because they can go and fight in the wasteland at any point with a knight. Which is probably what they're doing right now. Pumps their knights up to 5/5s. Sure. If we draw a Grindstone, we can win the game though. So let's hope we do that. Ooh, we're getting damages in. Exciting. Did not draw the Grindstone. We did draw a Horizon Canopy though. I think we just immediately draw a card with the Horizon Canopy here. So we can find removal spells and all sorts. Okay, so there's a removal spell. So we should be able to wrap this one up, I think. We attack like this. If they do the trick again, we source plowshares. This, and they only have 2 points of toughness. This does gain them 5 life though, which is a little bit annoying for us. But we will actually gain the full 6 this time. If they want to put other stuff under the bus, that's going to be bad for them. Also, we must be getting low on lands here. This was March of Otherworldly Light. It wouldn't have been good enough because we needed... So if we'd named white with the Painted Servant, we could have pitched another card to March of Otherworldly Light, actually. They do not have a Sejiri step. So the other option here was to hit the Mother of Runes, which may have been the correct choice instead. Yeah, if I hit the Mother of Runes there, I don't gain the 6 life this time. Yeah, I think I need to hit the Mother of Runes, actually. So our opponent can't Sylvan Library still. But they do get to shuffle away every turn with the knights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 14. So 14 of their lands are accounted for right now. Knight. Okay, this is probably going to hit our Painted Servant. Yeah. So we're not on for drawing the Grindstone for the win anymore. What are we looking for now? A Caracas. Caracas doesn't help us out here. So we attack, they can absorb it now. So we're in a kind of horrible stalemate, really. Where our opponent gets to tutor things from their deck. This is not great for us. So if I'd have Source Plowshares that Mother of Runes instead, I didn't get any damage in next turn. Turn after they get 3 6/6s. So they can hit me with 2, chump with 1, hit me again. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was right to hit the knight there, but having a quick think about the maths, I don't think them having 3 knights is going to work out well for me either. Kind of just need to hit more removal spells. So maybe I hit the Mother trying to draw more removal spells. Okay, so I have another Mother. Yikes. So now what they can do is they can send one on attacks and then have one on blocks. So this is pretty bad for us. I think we are losing this game now. Cast this guy out. So we can always get enough mana and put the Cauldron on something else. So I get +2 power to it if I put it on the Canonist. But that's pretty weak source. So a March of Otherworldly Light would be useful here. Umazawa's Jitte. Sure. Once that starts equipping, I think we lose the game. They're not trying to force with the Mother of Runes. That's interesting. I just want to keep them both back until they can Jitte. Okay, so you've drawn another land here. I think we are done in this match now. This turn they give this a Jitte. They give it protection from black. And I have to chump block or let them hit us. Either way is going to be bad. If I chump block, we lose both of our other creatures. So I think we just let them hit us for 6 here. Yeah, this is definitely like Naya Maverick rather than any sort of depth deck. You know, Mother of Runes is a big giveaway as well as the Jitte. Okay, so I think we have to let this sail through, unfortunately. If we can get a colourless creature and put the Cauldron on it, that will work. But we need 7, isn't it, to equip this? 7, yeah. And we need to find some creatures and things. So it's going to be hard. We don't have a lot of turns left either. Another Canonist. It does not do it for us. I think our opponent has us here. I don't have any way of dealing any direct damage. I don't have Hope of Girapur in the deck anymore that was in previous iterations. That'd be a nice flyer that we could maybe use to go over and get the final points of damage in with a Shadow Spear on it. But now they've got the Jitte online, we're just in trouble. So let me just let it hit us this time. Yep. This next time it's lethal. So okay, they have a Hex Drinker as well. They can just level right up. It'll take a little while to get there, but sure. I think it's protection from instants and sorceries. Is the second level. Alright, what can we draw? Stoneforge Mystic is not it. I think we just concede the game here. That was a bit unfortunate. We bricked on lands for quite a few times. Like, I think our overall game plan was pretty solid there for the most part. But our opponent just had a lot of better draws than us, really, with triple knights. They had their Knights of Autumn to shut other things off, and they had the Mother of Runes. So, I don't know, maybe I'd board that differently, knowing that they are full Maverick. I'd probably be more inclined to change up a little bit. I don't know. Alright, let's go into the third round. So this hand just goldfishes on turn 3. Is that something I'm in for? Maybe it is. So we can goldfish on turn 3. A Bloodstained Mire. So the decks that run Bloodstained Mire is the Epic Storm and Reanimator are the 2 main ones. Which means I'm going to change my plan. And I'm going to play out this Soul Guide Lantern that we drew. Because if they're Reanimator, that'll be good. If they're the Epic Storm, it can be useful, but unlikely. But then we can play turn 2 Ethos-1 Canonist. So we can go off on turn 4 instead of turn 3. Which is fine. Mishra's Bauble. Okay, so this is the Epic Storm. A Brainstorm turn. So this might be another setup turn. Or it could just be a small Galvanic Relay. It feels like they're trying to fix their hand and then use the Bloodstained Mire to get rid of the bad cards. So this one Canonist we have is going to be good. If we get to untap. The main way that they interact with opponents is Veil of Summer or deny interactions. So we don't have to worry too much about that. It's a case of whether or not they kill us this turn. Black. Dark Ritual. Okay, it looks like they're going for something. Red. Is this just Galvanic Relay? Burning Wish. Sure, this looks like a Galvanic Relay because they don't have enough for anything like empty. Yeah, there's the Galvanic Relay. And then we get to see what they've hit with their Galvanic Relay. So I think we are now favoured in this match. They only get to draw. They only get to play like one of the non-artifact. Okay, so a lot of the cards that they've played are artifacts. So that's pretty good for them. I think we'll play this out. If they don't have the Tendrils main deck, then it's going to be more difficult for them because they're going to need to use the Burning Wish to get the thing. So they can't cast this Galvanic Relay and this Dark Ritual at the moment. They can still cast all their artifact spells though. Sure. The Bauble. The Chromox. Imprinting Veil of Summer from hand. A Chromox. No imprint. The Wishclaw. The Lion's Eye Diamond. So they can cast the Galvanic Relay now. Pitching the Lion's Eye Diamond to do so. Sure, so this is the Galvanic Relay. Bubbling. Play this. And play this guy out. Put in white because that's not a colour of mana that's helpful for them. Play this. So Pulverize is the one thing that could punish us, but they would have to get a Burning Wish and cast it. But then they can't deal with our Eversworn Canonist, so they wouldn't be able to cast the Pulverize. So I think we are okay here. If we can take the game 1 from the Storm, that would really help us out. Yes, we did take the game 1. Excellent. Sure. So Deafening Silence is very good here. Removal spells are very bad. Anointed Peacekeeper is fine here. Grafdigger's Cage does nothing. So Soulguide Lantern. Basically the only way that they use their graveyard is the Echo of Eons. So Umazawa's Jitte is definitely no good here. Shadow Spear is no good. The Mother of Runes, they can protect our creatures from things like Crash. Source of Plowshares is bad. The Portable Hole is alright. I don't think we're going to have time for Mox Opal shenanigans. I don't think we want the Pithing Needle. The Pithing Needle can name Wishclaw Talisman actually, so we do want that. So if we're boarding these out, Crucible of Wells is way too slow. If we want the Soulguide Lantern in our deck, the Ether Vials are very slow here actually, so we can take those out and keep these in. And we still get one more card if we do that. So the Shadow Spear is probably the quicker clock. We could also play March of Otherworldly Light, where if they play out some of their things, we can catch them. That's probably much better than having this. So the Epic Storm tends to play to the board a lot more than other Storm decks. We're going to have enough time for some of this sort of things. Esper Sentinel, Portal Hole, Stoneforge Mystic. Cauldron Complete is just the quickest clock we assemble, really. I think we can probably trim in one of these. I don't know if we want this many from playing to the board. If I'm suppressing them, I think that's going to be better. We need to mulligan this. A turn 2 S1 Canonist is too slow in this matchup. I think we should mulligan. No lands, we should mulligan. Mulligan to 3 cards or keep turn 2 S1 Canonist. I guess we have to keep it with this many things. So we've got to put 3 cards back. So I guess that's 1, 2. Probably the Painter's Servant because we have more Grindstones in the deck. Because we have the Urza Saga that shoots them out. And this can at least attack. So I suspect we lose this one. But most of the time I'm going to be losing to the Epic Storm on the draw. It's just how the matchup goes. I'm not willing to put Mindbreak Traps in my sideboard to try and make it better. Okay, so we got turn here. Oh! I pressed the wrong button and passed through my whole turn. Well, that's not going to help, is it, Cyrus? Jeez. Alright, do your worst. Oh dear, oh dear. Hopefully they kill us this turn anyway, so it doesn't matter. I don't feel really embarrassed. Oh no, don't pass the turn now. That's really embarrassing, because I would have been able to cast the guy. That's a shame. So I should have played the Urza Saga there as well. I was flustered from skipping my turn. So we play the Urza Saga, then we kill them on 3. Well, what should be 3. Surely they can kill us this turn. Or at least Galvanic Relay for value. I have to just assume that our opponent's hand has reactive pieces in, maybe. And that's why it's going slower. Because turn 3 before really doing anything is... No, 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 no! Oh my god! What's happened? Why don't... I think I might have a problem with my keyboard, I think. I don't know. I wasn't aware of pressing any buttons in my turn. Oh my lord. This is some shocking content that you're watching right now, and I apologise greatly. Narrating too much, maybe. And I'm hitting 2 instead of 1, I don't know. Maybe they think I have a Mindbreak Trap. Unbelievable. Okay, let's be super careful about passing turns here. Okay. Jeez, I'm so sorry about this. All right, let's play the canonist that should have come into play 2 turns ago. Like, we should have won this game by now. So they probably have Crash. Abrupt Decay. Okay. So next time we play out a combo. That will force them to go for it, though. Let's just pass through this turn. Well, I definitely don't deserve to win this game since I fat fingered twice and passed through my entire turn. So what is this? Ad nauseum from 20. That should be enough. Burning Wish. Could be Goblins. Goblins doesn't... Okay, it is appears into the abyss, sure. So this should win them the game because they'll draw half their deck. So I don't think we need to let them play this out. And I deserve to lose this game anyway, so we're just going to concede. Alright, so the reason we have these March for the Worldly Lights in is because we want to play Deafening Silence and FS1 Canonist. Our opponent's incentivized to play cards to the board, which means that we're more likely to snag stuff with these March for the Worldly Lights. They're probably just going to be better than things like Ether Vial anyway. The only one that is questionable is whether or not I keep the Oswald Fiddlebender in over one of them. But it is legendary. I think this is fine. This doesn't have any way to slow a Storm player down to the point where I think I can win, so I'm going to mulligan. I don't think this hand beats the Epic Storm. So we have to get rid of 2 cards. The reason I'm keeping this, we have a little bit of wasteland to interact. We also have the ability to cheer up a combo. So I think we get rid of one of the planes here. And because we already have... No, we can get rid of the Grindstone and get the Grindstone off the Saga. It's going to be a turn later, but I think that's okay. So we should have won the previous game if I'd have not fat fingered it, I think. But they obviously had more things in hand to deal with our stuff and Abrupt Decays and so on and so forth. Let's see if our opponent lets us draw a card or not. This is non-creature, whereas Canonist is non-artifact. So even though they look kind of similar, they trigger off of different things. Now I could pay here. I did not pay. That's not great for us. Okay, a Wishclaw Talisman. Pithy Needle, please. A Wasteland. So I think we have to just try and constrict their mana as much as possible here. All of their lands get hit by Wasteland. So the only thing they would have to do is leave a fetch in play rather than cracking it. We're a little ways off of being able to kill them just yet. Get our 1 point of damage in. Play out this Saga. Play out this Oswald. So Oswald represents FS1 Canonist next turn off of the Sentinel. Sure. The Anointed Peacekeeper is interesting. But I think the Canonist is the better play here. So our opponent has Wishclaw Talisman. So we can sacrifice Wishclaw Talisman for a 3-drop. But we don't have any 3-drops in our deck. Okay, so we're getting a whole new hand here. Okay, so we've got a Deafening Silence and FS1 Canonist. So if we don't die this turn, then I think we're okay. We kind of need to hope our opponent does like a Galvanic Relay turn. But their Storm is getting very close to being lethal here. Dark Ritual. Wishclaw Talisman. Chrome Mox. So if they have the main deck Tendrils, they kill us this turn. But they might not have main deck Tendrils. Floating triple black gives me the impression they do have main deck Tendrils. Burning Wish into Tendrils. Okay, that's fine as well. Well, it's not fine, but we're dead. Yep, so we basically... we passed the turn too many times there. Alright. We're on the play for round 4. We've got a hand that only has 1 land in it, but we do have an Ether Vial to go with it. We don't actually have a way of getting our... This would need more action for us to get the Grindstone. So I think we should mulligan this. Okay, this hand is fine. We can keep this. And I think we throw back a Plains. So we have a choice of if we want to try and combo on turn 3 or not. Or we want to play the Vial. I think playing the Vial is the safest option here. Also makes us look like a regular Death and Taxes, so our opponent won't be expecting to just get killed on turn 3 when the Urza Saga pops. And we can put our Painted Servant in. Volcanic Island. Is this going to be a Delver? It could be a Delver deck. They did not shuffle with their Ponder, which is not ideal for us. So we put in this Urza Saga. So we're going to have protection for our Painted Servant. So we're going to be able to do all this without being able to be counterspelled. We're going to get uncounterable Painted Servant off the Vial, uncounterable Grindstone off the Urza Saga, and Mother of Runes will be uncounterable off the Vial to protect us as well. Relatively happy with where we sit, but we can still like get wastelanded or something. Okay, that's not a wasteland. Okay, this is definitely giving me Delver vibes. Hopefully they don't see anything weird. Playing our Mother of Runes. Okay, this is going to get action from them. This is a Lightning Bolt, I suspect. Yeah, the Lightning Bolt, sure. Okay, so it's all Oswald Fiddlebender, which kind of lets the cat out of the bag a bit. But we'll play as Plains, and we'll use our Urza Saga to make a token and put in the Fiddlebender end step, which might encourage them to kill the Fiddlebender, which will save our Painter. Also means we can go and get a second Painter next turn if we need to. So we need double Lightning Bolt. Okay, the Wasteland. The Wasteland is good. We will make a guy. It's only a 2/2. Murktide Regent. Sure. Unfortunately, we don't have the mana to kill them this turn. I'll not put a count on this. We do have an Urza Saga though. So I think we can play out the Saga. Is there anything we can do about this Murktide Regent this turn? I don't think so. But we can sacrifice this while we still have the Oswald. And we can go and get ourselves a delicious Grindstone. So next turn we have two, if our Oswald untaps, we have two Painted Servants into play. Both of them uncounterable and the mana to activate Grindstone. So we should be fine after taking 6 this turn. Every mana they tap down really helps us out here because they need their mana to interact with what we're going to do. They chose not to shuffle their library, which means they probably have... Okay, so there's the Wasteland. That means we only have one Painted Servant for the combo next turn. Unless we draw another one. We could have put it in at a turn, but I'd rather have the ability to just... do it all. See, okay, we have a plane. So next turn, so if at any point our opponent taps out of all their mana, we get to kill them. And then next turn we can get rid of the Ether Vial. We can put our Painted Servant in, get rid of the Ether Vial for a Painted Servant and Grindstone them out. And they've only got 6 damage face up right now. Got to imagine there's a amount of counter spells in our opponent's hand as well that are just doing nothing. A Flooded Strand. There are secrets. Okay. Please play another threat. They did not play another threat. Let's play this out. We activate this. And we'll name white. So this we're going to get a second Painter. So they would need to have 2 removal spells here. Now if they have Lightning Bolt, we lose this game. But they can have a Brazen Borrower or 1 Lightning Bolt, or Brazen Borrower and the Lightning Bolt is fine. They've already used the Lightning Bolt earlier. Not a big fan of them cracking the old Flooded Strand here though. Maybe this is going to be a Brainstorm looking for something. They have 1 Lightning Bolt. Really? Oh, they didn't have it. Oh, they were just playing with me. Fair enough. Alright, sideboarding. We need to be able to kill Murktide Regents, so we need these. We want to stop the Murktide Regent Drag Rage Channeler, so we want the Rest in Pieces, which means our Crucibles are bad. We want to get rid of some of the stuff that's bad against... we can get rid of... Pithing Needle is an interesting one, actually, because sometimes we want it, for Wasteland, but sometimes our own Wastelands become clutch, like being able to take them off of Mystic Sanctuary mana, for example. The portable hole is fine. So I think we're taking out stuff that's also bad against meltdowns. That's why these are going. I don't think Omizawa's Jitte is that good against Delver anymore. Once upon a time, maybe. And I don't think we can realistically keep hold of... Well, it says it's harder for us to get the grindstone out. I think we trim one of our vials here, because they are very bad against meltdowns. And they're a very do-nothing top deck. So we'll go with it like this. We have no white mana, we will mulligan. We have no white mana, we will mulligan. I think we have to keep this. 2 cards got to go, have they? Do you want to just try and force through a Stoneforge Mystic? I think that is what we do here. We're not in great shape with this opening hand. Okay, a ponder rather than a threat is excellent for us. So I think we play out the Saga just so we might be able to kill them on 3. And if they wasteland this, I'd rather they wasteland this because I would like to have white mana to cast things like Swords to Plowshares. Let's try the Vial. This could get Daze. It's a pretty tempting Daze target. Yep, there it is. We cannot pay. A Wasteland. Sure. So that's going to hit our Saga like we predicted. They're just on more cards than us from the beginning of the game anyway. So let's play this out and then hope we draw a land next turn and can start jamming Stoneforges. And maybe one of them will be good. There's the Volcanic Island we know about. And a Ponder. So still not a threat. Which is good for us. They're definitely in a threatening build because we saw the Delver. And you only play Delver if you've already got 4 other 1-drops, really. Because it's so much worse than Dragon's Rage Channeler. Which means they are on the full 8 1-drops rather than like a Ledger Shredder slower build. We did not hit a land, so if our opponent has a Wasteland, we will probably lose this game in very short fashion. They did not have a Wasteland. Are they just going to make a big guy and just beat us down every few turns? Yeah, that'll do. We have a creature. It's not a very good one. And on this board at least. Right. So they bash us up in 4 turns, but they can probably increase it to 3 turns by playing anything. Obviously, if they brainstorm here and find a Wasteland, I think we'll just scoop it up. I think. Wow, do we scoop up? They didn't find a Wasteland, so we still have the option of being able to source Plowshares their Murktide Regent. If we draw the Plow. A Rest in Peace. This doesn't do anything, so we're going to hit for 7 this turn, possibly 9. Okay, so they're filtering their own draw here by doing this in the upkeep. Sure, that'll do. I don't need to see any more. So, yeah, our hand did not really pay out very well there. So, is there anything we need to change here? I don't think so. We could jiggle around these slightly. Or have a much for the worldly light in for a portable hole. That would be slightly better. Although we can tutor for this, can't we, with Oswald? I think we're fine like it as it is. Okay, so this is much more like the sort of hand that I wanted to open up on. So we get our Esper Sentinel down. And pass the turn. Scalding Tarn. Into Volcanic Island. Into Delver of Secrets. So they have a threat this time. And it's the one that my Rest in Peace doesn't hurt, which is a bit of a shame. Bring this one up. Put a Rest in Peace. Okay, so this will shut off all their threats that aren't Delver of Secrets. Now, if they want to offer the trade here, I think we'll take that. If they want to trade their best threat for my guy, I don't think they will. Nope, they didn't. So hopefully we can play an Urza Saga game now. But we're still susceptible to Wastelands here. So you get 1 in with their dogs, it didn't flip. Which is probably the Volcanic Island that they put into play was what they got. Another Delver of Secrets. Okay, flipping would be bad. But we get an Urza Saga out now. Oh, it's very tempting to cast this Mother of Runes. So we can... I think we just play the Saga game. Go attack. If they want to trade their best threat for my 1/1. That's fine. Let's see what this Delver does. Force of Will. Okay. So casting spells are going to be a little tricky, but we should be able to Shadow Spell our way out of this game. One would hope. So this is a big hit. This will be a 2/2. Untap. So if we want to play the Shadow Spear and equip, we need to tap this for mana. Can we afford to take a turn? Can we afford to take a turn making another guy here? Just to make sure our construct is big. I think we have to. They're not fetching with their scoring turn. I could punish them here. But we know they have a Force of Will in hand. So there's no point trying to cast... there's no point trying to cast any of our spells. We can't cast them anyway, but... so if they have Meltdown, we get pretty blown out here. But otherwise, next turn we get to do a pretty big swing. The Brainstorm. Are you going to pay? I suspect they will. There it is. We want to see this fetch land crack. Okay. This feels like a Meltdown. Yikes. And we know they have a Force of Will in hand. So this is bad. Yeah. So our opponent basically had the perfect draw to beat our hand here. If these were Dragon's Rage Channelers, then there's no threat on the board and we just grind through. But we are dead on board now. It is a shame. Like, this matchup's usually pretty decent. Like, but the thing with the Delver deck is it can always have draws that will beat you by the nature of the Temper deck. That's upsetting. All right. I think we beat one Delver easily this game. But it was just a bit annoying that our opponent opened up just the Delver hand rather than the rest of the deck, which we kind of had covered with Rest in Peace and the Sentinel to slow down their cantrips while they looked for the things. So yeah, like I would say my win record against Delver with this deck is probably about 65-ish%. So it's pretty favourable overall. But again, they do still get hands that just line up poorly. So all right, let's go into the final round. This hand is fine. We have a bit of interaction. We have a Stoneforge plan. So basically in your hands, when you're playing this deck, you want to open up, generally speaking, Urza's Saga or Stoneforge Mystic or Oswald and some stuff to go around it, generally. But we're going to keep this. City of Traitors. Chalice of the Void for 1. Yeah. This doesn't massively impact what we were planning on doing. So... we can't make either of these, which is a bit of a shame. But we'll play out the Mox Opal now because they might have a Trinosphere. Chalice of the Void does blank some of the things that we've got going on, unfortunately. Let's see what variety of Chalice deck they are. I'm going to guess that they're mono red. Is that Caves of Chaos Adventurer? Yeah. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. It's a good one. Painted Servant. So I think this turn we are just casting Stoneforge, and we'll get the Cordra. If our opponent is playing, if our opponent has a Fury in hand, they're going to be incentivized to use it this turn. So we're at least going to get a 3-for-1 off our Stoneforge, even if the 1 is going to be something that we might not even get to cast this game. Let's see how many cards our opponent discards. So discard 2 suggests to me they don't have a Fury in hand. Just the Blood Moon. Sure, so they're going to come at us and get a treasure token. Chandra. Okay, so they have a different removal spell for our guy. Sure. Gets us bopped down. So we play this guy out now. Wait, do we need to play this guy out? 1, 2. Play this guy out. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we need to play this guy out now so that if we draw Grindstone, we can win the game. Feels like I've just been sort of slightly on the wrong side of things a lot today, which is the way Magic the Gathering works sometimes. It's alright when you're on the other side of it, but small margins. So use Chandra for mana, and now they're going to cast a... could be Fury. That's the mana they've got floating. There it is. So we're going to lose our Painted Servant this turn. And I don't think we can come back from this. I think we're just going to concede. So, Swords to Plowshares are pretty good in this matchup. Anointed Peacekeeper is weirdly quite good as well, I find. And the March of Otherworldly Lights are going to be useful here. Now, what things are going to be non-useful here? Ether Vial is not going to be something we want. We need all of our cards to do things. Portable Hole is still fine, I think. Pithing Needle can name Chandra, it can name Reflection of Kiki Jiki. Shadow Spear would be good if we're trying to fight them in a fairish game. Umezawa's Jitte is okay for that, but if we need to trim, then that might be a good place to look. The Canonists are pretty bad here. They're casting one spell a turn for the most part. I actually quite like the Crucible here for the purposes of being able to wasteland our opponents out of the game. We can trim on a Jitte. The Urza Sagas are bad. I mean, not to the point where I think we need to cut them from the deck, but we can't keep a double Saga hand against them. So we're looking at one more cut here. It's a hard choice. It's probably a Grindstone because it does less on its own. I think that seems fine. Have to keep the Mox Opal in because of Blood Moon. Yeah, we'll submit like this. So Blood Moon gets us pretty bad here. Truth be told. And we're not really going anywhere. I think we should mulligan. Okay, this is a bit better. We can keep this. Probably bin off the march. And we've got a curve of 1, 2, 3. Although we're probably going to be 1, 2, and then use our Stoneforge. So maybe if we draw a land, we can wasteland on the third turn. But then we're going to be waiting to draw mana to cast a Peacekeeper. But I think we need to worry about that when we get there. Classic, draw, go. Mother of Runes is quite nice. I think we attack. And then we Stoneforge. It's the quickest way you can win the game. Cauldra is almost impossible for them to answer outside of Dead Gone. Or they can bounce it with the Gone. Cauldra completes. So if we draw a land next turn, if it's a white source, we can probably play Mother of Runes and the... okay, we can't do that now because I'm losing our guy. Alright, let's see what our opponent has for us. A City of Traitors. It's a tempting wasteland target. Goblin Rabblemaster. So we get to plough this. This has to come in. We take our 1. Don't really care too much about that. So if we wasteland them this turn, we could just end up being in the middle of nowhere. So I think we have to wait, and then if we can draw another land, we can deploy a Crucible, and then just wasteland them back down to a mountain for the rest of the game. It's a little bit of a slow way of getting through it, but it means they shouldn't ever have the mana for Fiery Confluence, which is the big way that they just completely turn this matchup and blow us out. This is just like a Chandra turn. Or it could just be another Goblin. A Blood Moon. How much do I want my wasteland in play? A lot, I think, so we'll let the Blood Moon resolve. They're paying as well. So we'll probably draw an Urza Saga now. That's just the way things have been sometimes, but let's have a look. It was not. So how slow do we want to take this? I think we should just play out the Mother of Runes. Our opponent's down to 2 lands here. Now, they could easily have 3 lands, but doesn't look like they do. Interesting. Okay, so we just... Okay, they didn't attack that guy. So we have a Swords to Plowshares if we want it, but I don't think we do. We just cast a Fiddlebender, and we don't need to attack. So if we draw a land, we get the Peacekeeper, we get to see what's in their hand, and we can work out what the best thing to get with Fiddlebender is going to be. Okay, Plains. This is also a pretty sizable clock. Let's see. It's got Fiery Confluence, Chalice of the Void, Unlicensed Hearse, Blood Moon. So none of these cards do anything apart from the Fiery Confluence, right? So we're going to name Fiery Confluence. Fury is another one we can name, but I think we name the Fiery Confluence here. And then we go to attacks. We attack with our 2/2. So we have a Swords to Plowshares for any sort of creature that they can put down, like another one of the goblins. And we have a March of Otherworldly Light. Okay, so here's the Evoked Fury. Now, they have to be careful which targets they choose here, because I have a Mother of Runes. So let's see where they put the targets. 2, 2, 1. So would I rather have a Fiddlebender or a Mother of Runes? I'll lose a Fiddlebender. It was the other one I thought about naming. Fiery Confluence is something that I know they have in hand. If they build up to it, they can sweep our board with the sweeper mode. And they're just going to play an unlicensed... Okay, a Chalice for 1. That's fine because we have the March of Otherworldly Light if we need to cast the Swords to Plowshares. Esper Sentinel. That's not very exciting, but it'll do. Hold on. We need to March of Otherworldly Light the Chalice first, don't we? If we wanted to cast this guy. I think we do want to cast this guy. The other option is we hit their Blood Moon and then Wasteland them off. Quite like that as a play. Because you can... Okay, let's try that. Done. And then we just have our guy beaten down and we have removal for other stuff that they can draw. If we draw another land, we can get the Crucible lock going. An unlicensed test, we don't care about that. Okay, so we can get this one going. Let's cast the Crucible. And we can start wastelanding them next turn. They do have a Blood Moon in hand, so they can draw the land for it. But they have one turn to do that. And the one thing they've demonstrated so far is an inability to draw lands, which has helped us out greatly. So our wasteland's gone now under the hearse, which is annoying. Okay, so they can Blood Moon this turn. Or they can't Fiery Confluence. This is just going to be the Blood Moon. We lose our Saga. But time is rapidly running out for our opponents. We can't Swords to Plowshares actually because of the Chalice, because we chose not to do that one. This is crew 2, isn't it? Yeah. So we'll need another creature for that. Let's go to attacks. This is good for us. It means they don't have anything to crew with. And we play out this. So we can do March of Otherworldly Lights. The Blood Moon's gone as well. A Trinisphere. Sure, that doesn't really impact the stage of the game we're in at the moment. We just keep attacking with our guy. Next time we can attack with both, depending on what mana they have up. So we have them dead on board, potentially. They will need to put some creatures in the way, or have some removal spells. But because they haven't tapped down, I think we are just going to attack for just a 3 and play it safe. Play another land. So our opponent gets to cast 1 spell because of their own Trinisphere. Cool. So we got game 2. So anything we want to do differently for game 3? I don't think so. Like Rest in Peace is good against their hearse, but I didn't really care about their hearse very much. I definitely could have played that last game a little bit differently at times, but no, I think we'll submit. It'll be fine. 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop. We have removal. We can get a little bit stung by Chalice on 1, but at least we can follow up with another creature. Follow up with the Stoneforge. Okay, so this could be a Blood Moon, a Trinisphere. Okay, so I'm not casting any spells for a few turns. Understood. So if they've got a follow-up creature, I think we lose this game, to be honest. By the time we get to Swords to Plowshares, we're going to be so far behind. Would have been a good turn to draw a Wasteland. Fable of the Mirror Break. That's not the worst. It's not the best either, but... Okay, we have 2 planes, so we can't really say fairer than that. But they get to cast a 4-drop this turn if they want to. This is going to end badly for us. Could be a Chandra. Oh, we didn't have anything. Interesting. So, play out the Saga. We get to play one of these spells. I think, honestly, we just play out the Peacekeeper here. What do they have? Fury, Legion Warboss, Fiery Confluence. Next turn they get to hard cast Fury. Yeah, we're in trouble here. It's just Fury, there it is. And I'll pop out the rest of the hand. Yeah, so we're in a lot of trouble here. Like they can start cloning the Fury with Fable of the Mirror Breaker. And then we will not be able to stick any creatures ever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they have enough mana to cast it through my Anointed Peacekeeper. if they just attack with a Goblin Shaman token. On the plus side, at least I get to kill the Goblin Shaman token. Oh, they're evoking it. That feels very wrong to me. You can have a Fury on the board, and then you can Reflection of Kiki Jiki at every single turn. Why would you not do that? That seems wild to me. And what do they pitch? A Fiery Confluence. There's a City of Traitors. Like, Legion Warboss is not as good as just having an infinite supply of Furies. That shouldn't be a controversial thought, that one. Alright. So we're going to take a bit of a hit here. And we get to cast a spell this turn, which is nice. Is it worth casting a spell? So we can hit the Legion Warboss. So the reflection is only copying this guy. There's the Legion Warboss as well. So we could do that. Which I don't think is great, but I think it is what we have to do. So we can get a Chrome Mox off the Edge of Saga if we need mana. We probably could have waited until our opponent targeted it, actually, and try and get the value that way. That would have been a smarter play. But I'm all out of smarts today. This one's gone on for a little while, and I've not had the best of times. Chalice of the Void on 1. Sure. We don't really need to cast any more 1-drops. They're copying this. So they're getting lots of treasure. So they're going to be able to cast all their stuff whenever they want to. So what we need to do here is maybe combo them out. A Crucible of Worlds. That is a good plan, but it's a very slow plan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, if we tap this for mana, we get to cast 2 spells this turn. Right. So we're going to get Mox Opal, I think. We could get the Pithing Needle to stop this guy. I think we need to double spell this turn. So 2, 3 gets us the Crucible, which then gets us this. Oh wait, we're an artifact mana short, aren't we? What am I doing? This is a Caracas, not an Ancient Den. Oh, it's too late in the day for me. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I have made a little bit of an error there. So how much are you hitting us for this turn? 2, 4, 5 this turn. So we activate this to get a token. And this taps for mana. So we need to draw a land in order to be able to play out a guy. Sure. They have many treasures. Like, they've got follow-up somewhere. Fiery Confluence. So this hits me for 12 in the face, right? Yeah, sure. So that wasn't a good one. I definitely made a few missteps. So basically turn 1 Trinisphere on the play is going to beat a lot of decks a lot of the time, and that includes us, I think. Alright, let's go have a look at the deck. Alright, so what did we go on this one? I think it was 1-4, which is officially by far the worst I've ever done with this deck. So that's not great. But how did the deck feel? Like, we had a lot more times where we had double planes, which felt nice. Which was basically the only real change here to the list that I sort of 60% win rate over a weekend, and then also, 4-1 on the last league with basically this same list. So I think the list is fine, but I think we're just on the wrong side of some matchups a little bit there. We misplayed against the Storm by, well, we didn't misplay, we misclicked and passed through our turn, so that's embarrassing, and I deserve to lose for fat fingering that one. But despite the poor performance of the deck, like, it felt pretty good. We did mulligan a lot. We mulliganed a great deal this league, which was a shame. And let's have a look. Yeah. So, we took matches off a lot of the people that beat us as well. We took games off of them. So it wasn't like we just got stomped. We just kind of had to mulligan a bit or had the awkward hand. So, like, losing that Delver was really annoying, to be honest, because if they'd have just had the one Delver and then the other threats in their deck, then we'd have been fine. So it's just one of those ones where they also had to have the triple Lightning Bolt hand. Yeah, that was that one, wasn't it, I think? So the deck feels fine. I'm getting less and less convinced by Umezawa's Jitte as a card. I'm probably going to, for the next version, try Sword of Fire and Ice, which I hope isn't really good in some ways, because I have this deck in paper like nicely foiled out, so I'd have to get the like the Invention Sword, which I'd rather not have to be honest. But we'll try it out online and see how it goes. I think that's probably the next one, because that's just a solidly powerful artifact on its own. Like, Jitte is good, but I've been finding it's had less appeal to me of late in a lot of these matchups. Like, it does provide some removal. I'm also wondering if I need more, if more removal would just be something that I'm in the market for in this deck a little bit. I've thought about cutting the Mox Opal a number of times. So what we might try on the next one is cutting a Mox Opal, because we've already cut an Ancient Dens. This is getting even worse. So if we cut a Mox Opal and a Jip for another Source of Plowshares, a Sword of Fire and Ice, and that frees up another sideboard slot that we can use to shore up another matchup. So I have to have a think about that. All right, that's about it. So before I sign off, let me just remind you to scroll down and hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps me out. And obviously likes and comments do too, but subscribe is what I'm really trying to hit at the moment. And if you know anyone who's interested in legacy content, please share them my stuff, see if they like it. It all helps me out. All right, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.